Okay everybody, this is Mooney Dashcam. Today we are at Howard Beach and we're going to be talking about John Gotti Sr.'s son getting ran over, 12 years old, by his neighbor. They shared a back fence, they shared backyards. His neighbor, John Favara. And what happened that day and what happened after that. Alright, we'll finish up this three-point turn and then we'll flip it around. Give you guys a little bit different of a perspective here. Over the WL line. You know how we do it. Alright, let's flip this around. Okay, so this happened March 18th, 1980. It was a while, 42 years ago. First stop that we're going to is John Gotti's house, which is 60-11 85th Street. Then we're going to go to where Frank Gotti got ran over. Then we're going to go to the neighbor's house. We got one more location after that. I'll keep that one a surprise. Alright, so we're on the block now, John Gotti Sr.'s house. Like I said, the day was March 18th, 1980. Pretty similar to, it's late February right now. Not too far from now, 42 years ago. Frank Gotti met up with his friend, and his friend just got a new mini bike. One of those little fun little things. So the friend tries to teach him how to drive it, and he doesn't listen much, and he's driving off. He's shooting around the neighborhood, having fun, like a 12-year-old kid that just got a mini bike does. And there's a construction zone over by where he was on 157th Avenue, and he's shooting around a little construction site, shoots out into the street from behind a dumpster that was on the curb. Right as he shoots out into the street, the neighbor, John Favara, comes around the bend, gets blinded by the sun, by the light from the sun, and hits Frank Gotti. Now, the mother has a story that some people don't agree with. She was very distraught over this, as you might imagine. Okay, John Gotti's house. I'll pop out for a second here. So this is not exactly the house that I want to be dancing around in front of, because I believe the family still owns it. But this is John Gotti's house. 16011 85th Street. I'll add an old picture, of course. Big old camera there. So like I said, the mother has a little bit different of a story than what is assumed that happened, but I'll give you what the mother said happened. So they get a phone call on the house phone, and they hear that there was an accident. Your son was involved in an accident. It's not too bad. I think he broke his leg. So she says that when she gets there, she gets a little bit of the story pieced together by the neighbors, that John Favara hit Frank Gotti on the mini bike and dragged him like 200 feet. This is a horrible scenario. I mean, you don't want this to happen to anyone. You don't wish this kind of stuff on your worst enemy. Drags him like 200 feet until finally the neighborhood kind of stops his car, because they look out for each other, and he gets out of the car kind of angry, and he actually says, what the fuck was he doing in the street? Like mad, not remorseful that he just hit a kid at all. Then there are other stories that he was a little bit remorseful. So I'm just trying to give you everything, all the information out there. She said that he was drunk when he was coming home, but police investigated the incident and deemed it not his fault. So he didn't get in trouble for the accident, because I truthfully don't really think he wanted to hit a kid and kill a kid that day. But as the story goes from how Victoria Gotti tells it, Victoria Sr., gets out of the car all mad. Then once he realizes whose kid he hit, he became like dazed and confused, like he knew he did something really bad. Frank Gotti was declared dead at the hospital. John Gotti Sr. was the first one to be told that that was the case. He had to break it to his family. He said it was the hardest thing he ever had to do. Now the mother, Victoria Gotti Sr., is totally distraught, as any mother would be. She actually broke a vanity that night in her room and used the glass from the mirror and cut herself, and it was a whole big thing. John Gotti had to bring her to the doctor for that. Then later on, she took like a fistful of pills and had to go get her stomach pumped. Like, she was really, really messed up over this. All while this is going on, John Favara is getting threats to his house over the phone, threats by mail. Someone actually called the precinct and told a woman called the precinct and said that John Favara was going to be eliminated, and they relayed that back to John, and he was like, I didn't know this kind of stuff happened. I thought this was only in the movies. Okay, so they say the corner was 157th Avenue and Crossway Boulevard, which is right here. So it could have really happened anywhere at this corner. I'm going to pull up right here. We'll just walk around a little. So you can't find the exact location of where he was hit, but this is the general area. Somewhere around this corner. Say hi to the truck. Dirty truck. So yeah, we don't know if it was on the corner here, if it was a little bit more in the block, but you just imagine the scene that this was when it happened. So yeah, while this is all going on, like I said, he was getting threats, all sorts of threats. They actually painted on his car, murderer, spray painted on his car, which I'm sure he wasn't too happy about. I don't think anyone would be. So someone even put a mass card, like that you get from a funeral, Frank Gotti's mass card, into John Favara's mailbox. So he was getting harassed, which is kind of wrong under the circumstances that it was an accident, but you know, it was John Gotti's son. You hear that? Letting someone pass here. Don't want to be rushed, you know. So Victoria Gotti Sr. is very distraught over all this. She's barely getting any sleep, like really, really messed up. So she starts hearing loud music and commotion coming from the backyard, and she's like, "What's this all about?" So she gets down, and one of the kids is in the kitchen trying to do the dishes and load the dishwasher really loud to try and distract her from what's going on in the backyard. So she goes to the backyard, and she's like glued to the backyard. She sees they have people over. They're playing music, laughing, you know, the Favaras. She's, you know, about to lose her mind. So the son takes her. John Gotti Sr. comes down. They go upstairs. They go back to bed. Once John Gotti Sr. is fully asleep, she comes back down and catches eyes with John Favara, and apparently he smiles. He smiles at her from over the fence, which would make any mother lose her mind. So she grabs a baseball bat and goes and storms around the block, which is not very far from her house. Like I said, they had their backyards were butted up together. So she went around the block, and with her son chasing her, and she goes up to the car that killed her son. He never even got his car fixed, so there was still damage on the car, and she said that she actually saw blood on the car. The son that helped with this article that I got this information from said that the blood was still in the car, which is, I mean, get your car washed at the very least. So, and even further, get it fixed. So she's banging the baseball bat on the car, trying to get him to come outside. He eventually comes outside. She takes a few swings at him with the baseball bat. The son grabs her, calms her down, and gets her back to the house. He's like, "You're gonna get us arrested. The cops are gonna be called." He's flipping out Favara over his car. "Who's gonna pay for the damages of my car?" Blah blah. Which, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about all this. You're dealing with a grieving mother. So soon after that, John Gotti Sr. is like, "This has to end. We need to relax. We need something. Let's plan a trip to Florida." The whole family plan a trip to Florida. So the trip was supposed to be from July 25th to August 4th. Around the same time, the Favaras are like, all right, I think the best course of action is to move. Sell my car, sell the house. We're gonna move to another town. It's not worth getting harassed. We know how this kind of stuff ends up. So they're getting ready to move. They're gonna move at the end of July. While they're in Florida, the rumor is that John Gotti Sr. goes to Florida with his family, but gets in his car and drives back to New York to handle this. He gets a little bit of a crew together, which is, at the very least, Gene Gotti and Charles Kernaglia. At the very least. There could have been more guys. As John Favara is walking from his job, which is a furniture factory in New Hyde Park, Long Island, right here, 160-10 86th Street. Which one is it? Oh, this one. This trailer's parked in front of it. Now, I have a picture of the old house. All these houses have been changed up. So we're gonna see if this is right. If someone knows the address that's not this address, correct me. Alright, so this is the house right here. What I believe the house was. So like I said, he's walking from his job to a diner where he parks his car. And they pull up with a van, shoot him once, hit him with a club a bunch of times, throw him in the van. Him and his car were never seen again. Now, there are plenty of different stories on how his body was disposed of. I'll give you all the popular theories, and then the theory that seems to be like the correct one. I forgot to mention this. I think it's important to add to the story. John Gotti Jr. was said in an interview that he never really saw much emotion from his father. Even throughout all this, he didn't get much emotion out of him. But he had a vent that went from his father's den to his room. And he heard through the vent his father crying over the situation. But you don't blame the guy, you know, everyone's human. But it's a side of John Gotti that the public never saw. Okay, continuing on. The family gets back from Florida. Detectives meet with them. And Victoria Gotti says, I don't know what happened to him, but I'm not sorry if something did. He never sent me a card. He never apologized. He never even got his car fixed. And then John Gotti Sr. added, he killed my kid, as he shrugged, kind of saying, I don't really care what happened to him either. Another quote from John Gotti during the investigation of this was, I'm not sorry the guy's missing. I wouldn't be sorry if the guy turned up dead. Which, I'm sure a lot of parents that have had a similar thing happen have those same feelings, you know? Most parents don't actually kill the guy, but a lot of parents probably have those feelings. So the word on the street is that John Gotti was the one to actually commit the murder and kill him himself. It might have been Charles Kernaglia. It goes back and forth. It depends what you read. Depends who you're talking to. So the few different scenarios that are out there on what happened to the body. One is that he was killed and buried in the hole, which I have a video on the hole. I will add that in the description. It was kind of like John Gotti's personal graveyard. I believe that was disproven because that was dug up. Another was that he was dismembered, put into a barrel filled with concrete, and thrown off the Sheepshead Bay pier into Sheepshead Bay. That's a widely accepted theory of what happened. And then kind of the most confirmed, the one that the FBI goes with, is that Charles Kernaglia took the body to his house near where he had his junkyard on Fountain Avenue. He had a big junkyard on Fountain Avenue, a lot of stuff went on there. That's for another video. But he brought him to his house, brings him into the basement, which he nicknamed the Body Shop. You'll understand why in a second. Dismembered him in the basement, put him in a barrel, and filled the barrel up with acid to dissolve his body. Apparently, he didn't use the right acid at first, so the body didn't dissolve as good, so he added the right acid, and it eventually did dissolve. But to prove that the body was fully dissolved, and that the murder was complete, and the disposal was complete, he brought a couple of the finger bones to the Lindenwood Diner, which we'll be at in a second here, and put them in the chicken soup of Angelo Ruggiero Sr. as he was eating. Maybe the most disgusting way to prove that you killed someone and got the job done, but I don't think Charles Kernaglia was really too concerned about being disgusting or not. So he has now been missing for 42 years. The date of him disappearing was July 28th, 1980. And like I said, they were in Florida from July 25th to August 4th. Why is the guy honking at me? It was a regular stop at a stop sign. I even rolled through it. You guys can check the tape. Yeah, so he was gone from July 25th to August 4th. This happened on July 28th, so he had a perfect alibi. I was in Florida, you know? Even though, of course, he could have ordered it while he wasn't there. Or, like I said, he might have just came back. This is the Lindenwood Diner. Let's pull up here. Get a nice shot of it. So this is the Lindenwood Diner. Common mob hangout, common mob meeting place. Right across the street there is the hole, which I mentioned earlier. Kind of like John Gotti's little graveyard. A lot of people are buried over there. As I said, link in the description of that video. Got a little bit more on that. But yeah. I actually know the owner of this diner pretty well. I wouldn't want to bother him. If he sees me out here, it'd be pretty funny. But yeah, as you can see, it's pretty old school. It looks like an old mob diner. It was kept pretty original looking. And this is where the finger bones were put in the soup of Angelo Ruggiero. It's a cool looking diner, I gotta say. And back to the truck. Oh yeah, the hole kind of continues. A little detour here. The hole kind of continues across Linden Boulevard to over here. Oh, we can see actually right now. Let's walk down here. A little exploration never hurt anybody. Actually, yes, that's an incorrect statement. And look, you'll see someone's parked here, so you don't go down. This is what the hole is like. Technically on the border of like Brooklyn, Howard Beach. It's very argued as to what town this is, to what neighborhood this is. Yeah, this is what happens. So this is below the rest of the area. They don't have good sewage and drainage here. So you get stuff like this. I mean, in the video where I drove through the hole, there was a good foot of water at some parts that I was driving through. I'm always in the wrong shoes for these scenarios. It's horrible. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff like this. A lot of just random yards and stuff because people don't really want to live over here. Oh, say hi to the cat. And here we go, back to the truck. Okay, that is pretty much everything I have to tell you about this horrible incident that happened 42 years ago. That a lot of other Gotti family members are named Frank after Frank Gotti that got hit by a car. It's a really horrible story of, this is a horrible story for anybody, but it was more put on blast because it's John Gotti. Anything John Gotti does or anything that happens with his family is a little bit more public than the rest. And the guy that hit his kid paid the price. If it was an accident or not, which the police deemed it an accident. Overall, terrible story. Hope you guys enjoyed. I don't know about that. Hope you guys found it interesting. See you in the next one.